Hi, hello, my name is Lottie, aka Sneezy Ferret, and I always worry that I'm going to wake up in the morning and there's never going to be anything to talk about. Thankfully, Labour are in power, so there's always something. I will say that when it comes to illegal migration, Conservatives were trying to fix things right at the end there, but not really through the rest of the time. It's almost like they were just trying to do it just so that they would be voted back in. They seemed to realise that they had managed to garner the ire of the British public. So what story shall we focus on this morning? There's so many. We could talk about Kobatu and the fact that they managed to find him. And then it turns out that a witness said he was hanging around the prison for an hour and a half before he finally left, and it seemed like he didn't want to leave. Yeah, that's fun. So we could talk about that. But everyone's already heard about that. There are some suspicious things with that, but I'll see if anything else breaks in regards to that story. Or we could talk about the asylum seeker who managed to assault people outside of the hotel. And no, it's not the same one. It's another one outside the Sheraton Hotel. This was back in May and June, but we're only just hearing about it. I wonder why. And we could also talk about the billions wasted on hotels for migrants, because a bombshell report reveals incompetent Home Office staff let private firms make excessive profits. So let's cover all of them, because, yeah, why not? The Home Office has squandered billions of pounds on asylum hotel, a damning report has found. Yeah, because I always find that the best thing to do in the morning is to make everyone just as angry as me. Yay. MPs blasted the department's incompetence again, over its handling of a failed, chaotic and expensive system. There were manifest failure by the Home Office to get a grip of contracts with private companies. It pointed to house asylum seekers, they concluded. As a result, the firms have been allowed to make excessive profits from the Channel crisis. Yeah, and you kind of wonder why they don't stop it, don't you? Because we could use our Navy. I know we've underfunded them, but perhaps we could change that. Just a thought. Maybe it'd be a good idea to keep our military kind of well financed, especially in this day and age. Especially with a government that, let's face it, Labour's got prior when it comes to warmongering. Just a thought. Especially seeing as Keir Starmer seems to be Blair's little puppet. The Commons Home Affairs Select Committee said it was inexplicable the Home Office did not require accommodation providers to assess the impact on local areas before opening migrant hotels. Yeah, because we've got two in my area and I live in a very rural area, and downtown is fun. I won't go into town on my own anymore. It's not safe. And yes, there has been already an incident. So, yeah. And again, I live in a very, very small town, and you'll go down there and there's just a massive group of illegal migrants. And no, that's not me being racist. I'm not. It's not that at all. Okay. I think I've previously explained in videos. And yeah, I do feel like I must have preambles for all this crap. And that's bad. We're supposed to have freedom of speech where we're able to speak our minds. Anyway, it has led to some local services experiencing unsustainable pressures, damaging community cohesion, and allowing misinformation and mistrust to grow. It's not misinformation, is it? By that, I'm going to assume they mean like that distrust in the areas. Oh, how dare people get a bit worried and concerned about the amount of sex crimes that we've now got. Coffee! Thank you. It can't possibly have anything to do with the amount of illegals which are now in the area. Oh, no, 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 no. How dare we think that? But this other story does seem to kind of say that asylum seeker assaults victims, but apparently he claimed he was unfamiliar with UK laws. So he's from Syria. Okay, now there are a few things that I know about Syria. Syria actually does have a few. They're not good, they're not robust, but they do have a couple of laws to try and prevent sexual violence. Weird. The differences between the UK and Syria is that we enforce ours and we don't force the victims to marry the perpetrator. So it's not that he's unfamiliar with the way that the law works, it's just that he thinks the police don't actually do anything about it. And I mean, let's face it, in this country, it's not such a reach to think he may have come to that conclusion, because it does seem like we don't deal with it. Maybe he heard from his friends in the grooming gangs. After all, they got away with it for years. An asylum seeker was captured on video carrying out sex attacks on multiple women while cycling through the town where he was staying, and has now been spared jail after claiming he was unfamiliar with UK laws. Quays Al Aswad, Aswad being a good name for him, 26, who was originally from Syria, sexually assaulted 3 women as he passed them on the same cycle lane in Hawley, Surrey in May and June this year, and we're only just hearing about it. Aswad, yes, who was staying at the 4 Points by Sheraton Hotel at the time, was seen on CCTV footage reaching out with his hand and sexually assaulting his victims as he cycled past. So it would seem to me that the reason why the public are worried about these hotels is because the people who live in them seem to have a higher propensity for attacking the women who walk by. Right? The assaults all took place while Al Aswad, sorry, that name, was travelling to and from the hotel to work at a car wash in London Bridge. Also, he's working illegally too. How's digital ID going to fix that? Some. He approached the first woman after she had left the pub with her mother, slapping her bottom from behind at around 9 p.m. on May 23. Al Aswad grabbed hold and squeezed the bottom of a second woman at around 9 p.m. on June 4th. 8 days later, on June 12th, passed a third woman on his bike and grabbed her crotch and vaginal area at around 10:45 a.m. Following the 26-year-old's conviction in August, around 200 anti-immigration protesters gathered outside the 4 Points by Sheraton Hotel in Hawley, where he lived. Well, I'm glad there's a protest there. It's just a shame we didn't really hear about this in the mainstream news, or at least I didn't hear about it. He was sentenced at Staines Magistrate Court on Wednesday to 6 months in custody, suspended for 2 years. So, suspended sentence. The court heard that after initially denying it was him who had committed the assaults, Al Aswad told an interview with probation that he was unfamiliar with UK laws regarding physical contact. I'm sorry, but only the most, can I use that word? Probably not. Only the most idiotic in our society, the most backwards in our society, would think for a second that you could run up to someone and grab them by the crotch, okay? I know Trump said that, but that's different. He's a billionaire. And the president. You're just someone who came in on a boat. Sorry, I'm going to laugh about that for a little while. Reading a victim impact statement to the court, I really shouldn't laugh. One of his victims, who had been shopping in the town when he grabbed her, said, "What upsets me the most about this whole incident is how an individual who himself claims to be seeking safety and happiness feels he has the right to remove these same things from myself and another woman." Unfortunately, these men coming over here, if you are to take what happened with the grooming gangs as a... and we do look to our past, let's face it. I say past, it's still going on. It really is. Nobody started to care suddenly. Well, we learned that with the inquiry that's going on. So that everyone's aware, because you might think, oh, well, at least they're doing an inquiry into it. Please be aware that this inquiry follows another inquiry because they had to have original inquiry to inquire whether or not they should have an inquiry. That is Britain for you at the moment. I probably should end this video because I'm getting really quite mad. I do want to cover the grooming gang inquiry thing because it's a massive disaster. And it does seem like Keir just wants to bury all this. I'm not surprised. Sorry, who was the Crown Prosecutor when all this was going on? I'm drawing a blank. Maybe you lot can fill me in. Anyway, I love you all. Take care. And I shall see you all in the next video, which will be in the morning or even later today, depending on how much Labour managed to mess me over today. Bye-bye. Mwah.